First indeed, Nick. First indeed. How's your Friday going? I mean, aside from all the things that obviously aren't going. Sorry about that. Nearly finished with all the alerts. Remember, be alert. The world needs more alerts. Okay, and we're ready to begin. Hey Jan, how's it going? Feeders live. Okay, while the game's starting, I'll just show you a couple of neat things that arrived. I got some better adhesive, so that'll come in handy for my horns during D&D. This stuff basically works like impact cement for my skin. And it's got the remover here, which is bright blue. And I don't know if it needs to be bright blue or if it just is, but that's kind of neat. A pattern for a bodysuit. Oh, hey Nick. You're wondering why you couldn't hear anything, and apparently you had the tab muted the entire time. Say hi to Goggles, by the way, if you're still in his Discord stream. No less, our mute button's the new hole. Ooh, burn. Anyway, yep. So, yep, I've got that. Ah. And also some different basically wig colour samples, so I can get the wig for Lara done. But anyway, yep. Oh, don't know. Yep. Oh, and if anyone missed it, it's the adhesive for my horns. Put that into performance mode. Anywho, let's get some silly voices on. Oh, Goggle says hi back. Heck yeah. Yes, Nick, you are. I mean, you're a DM, and what is a DM if not a message relay system for the player party? Oh yeah, quick plot recap. Our client has been framed for murder while working as a waitress. The victim's a computer programmer who developed a virus or something. Yes, it's true, the DM is not a player in their own right and does not deserve to have fun. No, wait. Where was I with the recap? Oh yeah, long story short, looks like it's a mafia boss because he won the lottery at exactly the wrong time or something. Anyway, we're going to interrogate a guy who was impersonating Phoenix Wright. And by interrogate, I mean he's going to get to lie his ass off the stand and the judges are going to side with him. No less, you're like a man in a small room trading tablets of Chinese characters with the outside world. To be more accurate, you are the book telling the man which tablets to respond with. Ah yes, that popular thought experiment regarding computer systems. The Turing test. Well, anyways, January the 8th, 1:21 PM, District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 1. So, we're finally going to see the tiger on the stand. We've almost got this case won now, Nick. I wish I could agree. Oh wow, my voice does not want to do my Phoenix voice right now. Oh, see you in a bit, no less. Yeah, no, it wasn't. That's not what the Turing test actually is, no less. That's just a joke because you literally said Chinese several times. And it's known as the Chinese room. Which I believe the developer of the Amnesia games is named after. But anyway, I digress. Huh? when I cross-examined Mr. Armstrong just now. He said he was just doing what the tiger told him to. But Goddo picked up on it, remember? He pointed out that without proof, we don't know if what he testified is the truth. You mean, you think Mr. Armstrong was lying? I don't know. But if that's the line the prosecution takes, we could be in trouble. I get the feeling we don't have the case-making evidence we're going to need. Hey, pal. R.I.P. my voice. Detective Gumshoe. What are you so jumpy about, Detective? Your hair's standing on end. Hey, that's the pot calling the kettle black, little Miss Topknot. It's not a top knot. Never mind about the hair. Just calm down, alright? I can't stand still when I don't have a job to do. I get wound up. Ugh. No kidding. You gotta have something you need me to do, pal. Anything. Well, hey, I'm gonna take a jog back down to the precinct. I can get some prints analysed for you, if you got an hour. An hour? The trial will have reconvened by then. But Nick, we still don't have a really decisive piece of evidence, right? True. Without some kind of trump card to pull out of the bag, we're really stuck. You said you could get some fingerprint analysis done in an hour? You bet. In that case, would you mind checking the prints on this for me? Okay, the small bottle's got fingerprints on it. If you're going back to the station anyway, could you find out whose prints are on these? Oh, hey, that's the small bottle I gave back to you this morning, right? Yeah. I think it's time we solve the last mystery of who the print on it belonged to. Sure thing, pal. Actually, that's been gnawing at me too. Small bottle given to Detective Gumshoe. Okay, I'll get this off to the lab right away. Just make sure you don't lose the case before I get back. This is pretty much the final showdown, I guess. It's time to separate the phonies from the real guys. January the 8th, 1:56 PM, District Court, Courtroom number 4. Court will now reconvene. Mr. Goddo, did you find this Furio Tigre? I even tamed him for you. It was a free cup job. No problem. Tamed him? The guy's name may be Furio Tigre, but come on. He's pretty lively. Be careful. He still bites. Very well. Please show Mr. Tigre to the stand. Yeah, they call him the Tiger, but I reckon he just has a favourite brand of tea. Rah. Nick, is free cup job a reference to a free pipe problem from Holmes? Yeah, that's actually what I was thinking. Sitting harder than the table, Mayor. Unless there's room for me down there too. Would you mind? What do you say to me? Nothing? I didn't say nothing. Honest. You could have guessed that fear would have induced a bad Brooklyn accent in the judge. No less free Hugh Watt. In the Sherlock Holmes novels, the original ones, he had a drug habit. Can you imagine the judge saying Brooklyn Rage? And also, to be fair, there is an anime adaptation of this, so... Hey, I'm walking here. Wait, hey, I'm walking here. Boyga. I can't do any sort of accent. It's a good thing I'm nowhere near New York, or I'd get jumped right now. You think when he meant he had a free pipe problem, he was handing me tobacco pipes he'd get through while thinking about it? Yeah. I think the BBC Sherlock adaptation had that joke with the nicotine patches. Although, I can't remember, but I think he also had a morphine habit, and I'm not sure if, I know, maybe that was a different thing, because there's also there was at least one story where there was basically a joke about him, where Watson thinks he might have also started smoking opium, but it turns out he was just there on a case. You could have guessed that fear would induce a bad Brooklyn accent in the judge. I got business to take care of, you hear me? So who the hell called me into this hole? Was it you, Spiky? No, of course not. It was the judge. Also Gordon Freeman. Your Honor? Oh dear, I seem to have dropped my pen. Where on earth is it? Don't mind me, just carry on with the proceedings as normal. That's it, we're doomed. Maybe you didn't hear me. I said, who the hell was it that called me in here? There's no need to shout. We can all hear you. What'd you say? There's no point struggling. You're caught in a snare. The relentless snare of the law. Here he goes again. And I'm the one who hauled you in. Too cool. Don't let him get the better of you, Nick. Let's start with the basics. You know about the incident in question, correct? Incident? I don't know nothing about no stinking incident, mass boy. You mean you didn't attend the previous trial of Maggie Bird? Yeah, and my volume is a bit too low. My mic volume or the actual stream volume? Is just making sure my mouse right up next to the mic any better. No less, I'm about at the same as usual, which is, to be honest, kind of too low. You always have your volume double the normal setting for these streams. Hold on, I'll just try boosting my mic a bit. Is that any better?
Maggie who? I got more important things to do than watch courtroom dramas. Of course. Well, perhaps you could give us our testimony, then?
Notice mic has been boosted. Can confirm that. But is the sound any better?
Please tell us about what you did on the day of the murder.
Not to the point you think you'll be turning your volume down, but it has gone up. Well, I'll take it.
Phoenix Wright. You's the one who set this up, didn't you? You's gonna regret the day you ruffled the tiger's fur. You hear what I'm saying?
Ooh. Maybe I should have brought a diaper with me today. Well, there we have it. Nick needs the assistance of his Kirstenus brand adult diapers. Yeah, that's right, Nick. You're finally making a sale. Get a grip, Nick. I should clarify that Nick aka his Kirstenus in the chat, is a separate entity from Nick. Phoenix Wright, the character in the game. No less, you're torn between wanting more context for the joke and not overly wanting more context for that joke in particular. Yeah, that's pretty much my experience with hanging around on Nick's service, to be honest. The tiger's alibi.
I don't know nothing about no murder. I was tied up with business in December last year. Spent all of my time in my office. I got whales lined up to borrow cash from tender lender every single day.
Oh my god, he's EA.
You just want to check my alibi? Just ask for a letter. Ah, at last I found my pen. Very well then, Mr. Wright, your cross-examination What is it? Please, witness, if you could refrain from shouting out like that. I know the kind of games that guy in blue plays. That lowlife ain't no lawyer. He just punches away at stupid details till he wins.
Lowlife? Me?
Listen up, smarty. Every time you ask me something that doesn't relate to this case, I'm gonna bill you $50,000, and you's gonna borrow the cash from me.
That's one loan contract I refused to sign.
And don't forget, it ain't gonna hurt when you tangle with the tiger.
No less. Wow, localization team. Somebody really thinks D is Brooklyn. To be honest, I'm not entirely sure what accent he's meant to have. I think it's just supposed to be a generic Hollywood gangster.
I love a good spectator sport. Just a minute. That's really not. This witness is.
Oh, thanks for the raid, Super Lazy Genius. How's it going? Can we get them a shout out? Thanks, Nick. What were you playing? Brawlhalla. How'd it go? Lilith on New York accent. You think it's New York, but D for the is most stereotypically AAVE, or old-fashioned. I'll be honest, I'm not really that well versed in American accents, so I'd have to take your word for it. Super Lazy Genius, you started with the Crew 2 with some grinding, then switched to Brawlhalla, which was enjoyable for a bit. Nihilist, you think what they're aiming for is New York with all the U's? Oh yeah, that makes sense. I think the only nearest I can get to a New York accent proper is just saying boiga, which is, to be fair, very fun to say. I'm gonna read a boiga. A tasty boiga.
This witness says, how can I put it? A hungry tiger roaming the urban jungle. Gets on his bad side, and he'll bite everyone's heads off. Yours too. Very well. I have no choice but to impose a penalty system here. You's better be listening. I said I got business to take care of. Big business. If I don't split now, I ain't gonna catch my bus. The court will impose a penalty for any irrelevant pressing of witness testimony. Keep that in mind as you begin your cross-examination, Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honour. You can do it, Nick.
Come out from under there already, would you, Mayor?
I kind of want to press this just to find out if they make a joke about that being a double negative. Triple negative, even. Wait, no, that's still a negative. Oh well. Okay. We know the victim had it written down in his calendar that he had an appointment with him, so... Okay, guess not.
Your Honour, that statement contradicts this evidence. It does? I don't see anything contradictory. Ah, really? Objection denied. Try to think before you make accusations, Mr. Wright. Whoops, that didn't go so well.
No less. Not going to lie, that might be the case with Boyga. In your opinion, the "I'm walking here" sounded more Cockney to you. Then again, you might think maybe one of the defining parts of the New York accent is a loudness that isn't going to be kind when combined with vocal fry. Yeah, I would need to work on my vocal fry, to be honest. At the moment, my voice is super breathy, which I think is really stopping me getting to the sort of actual femme voice I want.
Hey, Boyga.
Okay. Guess I'll try pressing him on via letter. By via letter, you're talking about the Cadaverini families.
Yeah, you don't want to cross them, or you're going to wind up sleeping with the fishes. Once the Godfather finds out you've been dragging Fiala through the mud.
Texan might be an easier project, you think? Well, to be fair, my Texan accent's terrible as well, so...
He'll do you in. He'll do you in.
Sorry, I couldn't quite put it all together towards the end there. He said that just like Viola, didn't he?
I get the feeling this might not be the right time to probe him about her.
Well, I'm gonna do it anyway.
Mr. Tigre, what do you want?
If you wouldn't mind going into a bit more detail.
This is a dead-end fight, and you know it. Remember the rules.
Arresting the witness without evidence to back up your attack is prohibited. As I said earlier, the court will impose a penalty for such behaviour.
Ouch. The pain.
Now then, Mr. Tigre, would you mind repeating your testimony from the beginning, please?
My time ain't free here. You'd better remember that. If I miss that bus, someone's gonna pay.
Okay, so I guess what they're saying here is I can press, and I have to decide whether or not I want to continue. I don't buy that you haven't even heard of the incident that occurred at Tribulations.
You got a big mouth, right?
You're just trying to say I was in on some sort of mob hit? Is that what you're trying to say?
Where's your proof then?
Evidence? Yes, well...
For an attorney to make an accusation in court, you must have evidence. That's from Loan Shark to Lawyer, a beginner's guide, yeah?
Ah, I see you're the studious type, Mr. Tigre. Very good.
Why don't you ask him to represent you sometime? Try it.
Notice you didn't say it was good. You said that it might be easier to work on. You think maybe it's more different from British accents than British accents too? It'd be practice for emphasising American R's and A's. New York drops R's similarly to British. Whilst, technically speaking, there are British accents that don't drop R's. For example, West Country. Sorry da.
What should I do?
Somewhere near all your reference for New York's accents is from Francesca in the Nanny, and for all you know, hers is more of a specific sub-accent. Well, once again, I only do not know much about American accents, so... Okay.
sure about that? We're talking about 1 month ago, you know. You see these teeth? That's how sharp my secretary is. Sharp? Is he talking about Viola Cadaverini? She writes everything in my scheduler. December, mainly in the office. That's what it says, so that's where it was. That seems like a rather sketchy schedule. Ugh. There he goes again. What the tiger did all December isn't the issue. What's important is what he was doing on the day of the murder. So now what? Okay, that didn't work either. Oh yeah, Mo Sizlak from The Simpsons was based on a New York bartender who was known for really creative threats, wasn't he? So I take it you get a lot of customers at your black market loan office? It's tough for the little guys these days. Small businesses are feeling the pinch. Bosses of companies like that want to get in good with me. I'm their best friend. I see. That's very admirable of you, witness. Yeah, well, tender lender's motto is win through compromise, you know. Win through compromise? What's that supposed to mean? Compromise the customer to win. That's what it means. You've got it. With best friends like that, like you, who needs enemies? Oh, you're talking about Mo Howard of the Three Stooges. Yep. Sorry, I'm on sleepy brain right now. Here, let me spell out for yous all. You don't pay me back within 3 days, Sparky. I take what's due. You're in stupid air. You just follow what I'm saying. But I'm not one of your customers. Should I ask more about tender lender or not? Go for it. Okay. Just think, all you have to do is press him on something irrelevant, and bam! $50,000. Get real, Mayor. How about you pay back the money then? Your allowance should cover it. Hey, I'm not an idiot, you know. Well, I'm certainly not the one you thought the $50,000 was free money. Anyway, I need to work this guy without pressing his testimony too hard. But his testimony is pretty solid as is. I admit, nothing jumps out at me as a contradiction. But I've got to find an opening somewhere, or I need to make one.
Notice his first statement's a double negative. Although odds aren't good, you'll get anything after pointing that out. Yep, that is a good point. Lorcan, the villains in this game have terrible grammar. Their grandpas aren't much better. Also, hi, how you doing? I wonder if that book of matches is enough to prove that he left the office at some point. You're working and enjoying the show. Excellent. Hope the work's going well then. Okay, that doesn't work then. I accidentally saved. Oh well. Maybe I need to ask him about everything, but not press. It's too dangerous to press things without knowing where they might end up. I'd better just focus on gathering information at the moment. Okay, I guess that's basically a hint telling me I need to view all the parts before the option. Nolus could have saved worse. You saved while trying to reload out of an unwinnable fight in an RPG once as a kid. Over at the old save and everything. R.I.P.
Now then, Mr. Tigray. He'll do you in.
No less. Mod idea. Replace Tigray with a Growlithe that keeps using Roar because it doesn't know any other moves. Okay. The scale up there is my advantage or win chance. This up here in the top right, it's basically just a health bar. Every time I ask an irrelevant, making a wrong assumption with evidence or what have you, I lose a bit of it, and if it empties completely, that's the game over, and my client just gets found guilty, and presumably gets the death penalty. That's right, Nolus. On this channel, we support save scumming. Yep, it's basically LA Noir, except people actually there's actually genuine consequences for doubt. Oh, anyway, TASMR can't make it to the stream today, so here's their cousin. Cream soda ASMR. Yep, so this guy basically has a unique mechanic where pressing him on the wrong subject will cost you health, just because he's that intimidating. And that appears in a few other places. Like on the third case of the second game, there was a clown who was just that annoying. No less. Concept, a backup anthem. Don't bother, you haven't even heard of the incident that occurred at Tribulations. Okay, I've already seen this. No less, like, I don't know, our anthem is the 1912 Overture, but we couldn't get cannons this year, so we're doing William Tell instead. Our 1812 Overture. That makes more sense. No less. So at price of nothing much, other than meta mode still in the point redeems. I don't know how that'd even work for this game. Your Honor, what do you think about the witness's statement?
I'm not sure I follow you.
It clearly contradicts the, I thought. No, let's come to that. Regular other end mode would probably just be boring in Paper Mario. Well, not necessarily. Winning fights with something off the table would be quite interesting. Larkin, you choose William Tell over 1812 Overture any day. And Smetana over Rossini or Haydn. But we digress. Mr. T. Gray should use more sunscreen. Or less fake tan. Precisely, no less.
You don't sound very sure, Mr. Wright. Objection denied.
Oops. He's not cosplaying a tiefling. Just checking my gloves are still there. Alright, so I've been at this for nearly an hour, so if anyone wants to look up what I need to do next, that's perfectly fine. Oh yeah, incidentally. Forgot to show these at the beginning of the stream, but new dice. No less. Did you favourite strategy wiki or just put the URL in an incognito window? Good question. I usually don't bother. I just Google whenever I need to find it. Do I have anything that could prove he knew about the murder? Oh. Press tied up. You sure about that? We're talking about 1 month ago, you know.
You see these teeth? That's how sharp my secretary is.
Avoid the other 3. Okay. Sharp. Is he talking about Viola Cadaverini?
She writes everything down in my scheduler. December, mainly in the office. That's what it says, so that's where it was.
That seems like a rather sketchy schedule.
Ugh.
There he goes again. What the tiger did all of December isn't the issue. What's important here is what he was doing on the day of the murder. So now what? Keep pressing harder then.
Mr. Tigre, what do you want?
If you wouldn't mind going into a bit more detail.
This is a dead end, Trite, and you know it. Remember the rules.
Oh, I guess it. It goes on a bit as if I'd got it wrong. No, it's essential that we establish the witness's alibi accurately.
I agree.
The victim was killed on December the 3rd. Were you in the office that day too?
Maybe you ain't listening. Of course I was. I never set foot outside.
Nolis trying to catch safe scummers. I'm perfectly innocent here.
I had meetings all day with a bunch of cats wanting to do business with me. I ain't never seen that young kid before. I do believe the witness's last statement was important. Mr. Goddo, if you could please... Mr. Tigre, the court asks you to add that last statement to your testimony. Huh.
Don't let an animal beat you. Be a man, Your Honor, and ask him yourself. Okay, so the days you're talking about, I was in the office too. I never saw that kid before. Do witnesses transcribe their own testimonies in this? Apparently. Maybe it's just like the order of the stick and everyone writes in their accents as well. Okay. Glenn's calendar says he was meeting with him, so... Okay, that got it. Mr. Tigre. Thanks for the hints, no less. You claim you didn't know Mr. Glenn Elg, but it appears that Mr. Elg knew you.
What?
Mr. Elk left this little note on his calendar. Meet with the tiger. And the date? December the 3rd.
December the 3rd? That's the day of the murder.
The moida. So, Mr. Tigre, I submit that you did indeed know one Mr. Glenn Elg. Because on the very day of the incident, you met with him. Not bad. You's actually not bad. Sorry. I was just messing with yous. To see how good you were. No less, you remember someone talking about using speech bubble colours as evidence, but you forget what the conclusion on that was. I don't think this really has speech bubble colours. So, I don't know, maybe in the later games? Did you hear that, Nick? He said you're not bad. That's one compliment I can do without. Plus he's lying through his teeth. Witness? Please remember you're under oath. Lies will not be tolerated. You's calling me a liar? Is that what you're doing? Uh-oh. Oh, in Order of the Stick. Yeah, there's a few jokes about that. But that Order of the Stick does do a lot of fourth wall humour like that. I guess because it's sort of acknowledged it's a universe that follows tabletop RPG rules anyway. So you're saying that your claims to have never seen that kid before is the truth? I said I'm dead serious. You'd better believe that's the truth. Huh. Then I'd say that gives me time to enjoy another cup of pure black magic. That is, while you testify for the court again, Mr. Tigray. Oh yes, would you mind indulging the court, witness? He never actually met the victim. That's got to be a lie right there. Yeah, it's definitely a good comic, definitely one of the better executions of it. It's time I nailed this guy. I think my favourite joke is basically at one point where someone sees a realistic drawing and gets very confused. I ain't no liar. I've never met Glenelg. There was some lame guy with that name, though. Wanted to borrow cash from me. I set up a meeting with the guy at my office, Tender Lender. I waited around for him, but he ain't never showed. I ain't ever been to that joint Tribulations. Wait, that Tribulations joint. You's here? Oh, we can prove it. That's a lie, because we've got the matchbook. I see. That all seems perfectly logical. You had arranged to meet with the victim, but he didn't show up. I've heard it's pretty hard to keep appointments when you're dead. Again with the faux intellectualism, Goddo. Very well. You may begin your cross-examination, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honour. Didn't I tell you I got a big deal going down today? I ain't gonna make my bus now. I'm gonna have to take the express train. That bill's going straight to you. Right. Ding. Mr. Tigray, is there something you'd like to tell the court about these matches? Nolis, you got a couple of the physical prequel books. They're completely grayscale except for a couple of pages in the middle. And there's a bit where someone tries to cast prismic spray and it doesn't work. Amazing. That reminds me, there's also a specific piece of art where Vesuvius, who's canonically genderqueer, is casting prismic spray on a troll, which is pointedly described as not meaning anything deeper. Matches? What you's talking about? We found them in your office at Tender Lender. They're from that restaurant. Wah.
If you've really never been to Tribulations before, what is the book of the restaurant's matches doing on your desk? You've been snooping around my stuff too, wise guy. Why you, my ball and chain? Ain't no broad controlling me.
Come on, Tigre, he's spoken for. Yep, and when we meet V's family and spouse, there's still not a gendered pronoun to be seen. Guess the Order of the Sticker Elves do not use amateur nouns.
Order? Order? Well, witness. I think it's time you started telling us the truth, don't you? Ugh. Sorry? I'm terribly sorry. Forgive me. I ain't no pussycat. I don't go back on what I said. But okay. I was at the joint that day. What? But listen good, alright. I might have been there, but I still never met that kid. Well, well. Looks like an order just came in for another testimony.
No less. What's new, Tigre? Whoa, whoa, whoa. I can't sing.
I'm this close to proving it was him. He did meet with Glen Elk that day, and he did put poison in his coffee. He must have. I was supposed to meet with a kid at the restaurant that afternoon. When I opened the door to that joint, I saw one ugly scene. The guy was laid out over the table, stiff as concrete. I figured if the place wasn't hot already, it was going to be, so I split. I heard the cop sirens on my way out, and I went straight back to my office. I see. You didn't actually meet with him in the end, then? Well, Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please.
Yes, Your Honor.
Hold it. If I wait around any longer, I ain't even going to make the normal express. No more stupid questions. Huh. No problem.
Okay, doing all the deep voices is killing my throat, so I might have to call this at an hour and a half.
Anytime Trite presses you on something irrelevant, I'll see he pays a penalty. Mr. Goddo, that's my job. Your job is to slam that little hammer of yours and call a guilty verdict. So do it. Yes, sir. The special express ain't cheap, right? Just so you know, since she's pen. Oh man, doesn't the rule of law mean anything around here?
Well, Nick, what do you think?
He is running out of ways to avoid the truth. I need to press him fast before he has time to think things through. I've got to come right back at him with a contradiction.
Be careful what you press him on, though, or you'll get penalised, okay? Okay, let's do this then. Iris? You can't believe that Phoenix is cross-examining himself. Yeah, it's crazy that he has an evil twin that looks so similar. Yep, he probably could pretend to be Phoenix and no one would know. Notice, you're not sure how I'd be able to tackle either Tigger or Sylvester, Tony the Tiger. Yeah, I'm not really sure I could do those voices. If only because I can't quite remember how they sound anyway. Well, Tony the Tiger's like,
Yo, it's great.
but I can't quite get that sort of deep voice in, so... I feel like the cop sirens is the sticking point. You went straight back. Did a bout of guilt suddenly hit you for what you did?
What are you trying to say? You trying to tell me you ain't never guilty of nothing?
Oh, I guess that was too many double negatives for Phoenix.
We all have our crosses to bear. You know, like that one song from the Life is Strange soundtrack. We all have to swallow the dark secrets we hide. For example, I voted Bay over Bay. Like this.
The courtroom's not exactly the place to talk about dark secrets, is it?
It seems you've done it again, Mr. Wright. Another irrelevant line of questioning. I must impose a penalty accordingly.
Life is Strange? You ought to know isn't in Life is Strange, is it? I'm not sure.
How about a penalty for those two jokers and the garbage they keep coming up with?
I just thought it was funny, be funny if his dark secret would be that he chose to save Arcadia Bay instead of Chloe. Because everyone knows save Chloe is the correct canonical choice, and you can fight me. Alright, yeah, you ought to know is a song. I was talking about, I can't remember the name of the song, but it's that one Max is listening to in the bus ride in the second episode. Hey Kiara, how's it going? Hi, with your boyfriend now, so you're here for a wee bit. You got the day off work? Oh, thanks for the host. Hey to Kiara and her boyfriend. And thanks for giving her a shout out, Nick. I think I missed your stream this morning because I was at work. How'd it go? Oh, happy lurking. So you didn't actually set foot inside the restaurant then?
The tiger is a busy cat. I don't hang around for no one. I ain't got time to be caught up in the no murder investigation.
So when exactly did you pick up the matches?
There are matches just inside the front door. Our detective friend wound up in trouble with the chef after taking $5 home.
Poor Gumshoe. It's almost enough to make a man cry. I deserve better than being asked to figure out a Trump voice. I agree. An ugly scene? What do you mean?
The witness has already told us, tried, which makes that question irrelevant.
But...
I limit myself to 17 cups of coffee during a trial. That's the rule. You better limit the number of times you take a penalty, tried. Or your guts will look like the inside of a chimney. Ashen. Don't make me burn you again, Mr. Wright.
I guess I shouldn't have pressed him on that.
Guess I'm gonna make that special express after all. So to recap, this ugly scene you saw was...
So the meeting wasn't due to take place at Tenderlanta at all then?
The kid was making a fuss about coming into the office. It's always that way when I want to talk about repayments. Even though I got the best punching bag you ever seen if there were any issues.
Maybe it's because of the punching bag that people are scared to come. So that's why you decided to meet at Tribulations?
Huh. You're going over all ground again, trite.
Sorry?
You just earned yourself a penalty. Now suck it down. You'll suck down the penalty, Mr. Wright, and you will like it.
Bloody hell. Thank you, sir. May I not have another? Good use of a quote, no less.
You mean you saw Glenelg's dead body?
Oh, Nolus, you wanted to help with the too many deep voices problem, but you didn't know what voice you could suggest for Tigray that would be doable and remotely thematic. Ah, that's fair. To be honest, it's worth exercising my voice a bit by doing some deep voices. It's just a matter of making sure I don't strain it.
You mean you saw Glenelg's dead body? I guess I did. I only saw him from behind. He was wearing some raggy bit of cloth he called a hat.
And what time was this?
Oh.
Huh?
You know what winds me up more than anything in the world? More than anything else in the world? Watches. Round watches. I ain't gonna pollute my paws with some ticking henpecker. Out of interest, Mr. Tigray, what winds you up the second most? Huh? What do you think? Square watches.
Is this guy for real?
Look, all I need to know was something bad was going down in that place.
So you didn't actually set foot inside the restaurant then?
The tiger is a bit...
Okay, we already listened to this one. Nolus man. Headline. Orange man yells at shapes. Okay. So presumably one of those two points that I don't get penalised for you asking about where the contradiction is. He said something about a hat. Was he wearing a hat? Yep, he was wearing a hat. Nonus, it wouldn't help, but you guess one wacky idea would be switching Tigray and Phoenix's voices. Okay, floor plan. Oh, he couldn't have seen it from there. You're something of a loan collecting pro, aren't you, Mr. Tigray?
No one escapes the tiger's clutches.
Well, I'm something of a lie detecting pro. You see, I'm a pro at detecting lies. Because you're a liar, and I detect you. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't know what happened there.
and no one escapes the Phoenix's clutches. I think it's time we got something straight. What's this trite? A new line of irrelevant questioning. These are the floor plans of the crime scene. No less. And my lie detector is going beep 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 beep. You say you were standing at the entrance, Mr. Tigre? From there, your field of vision would have covered an area something like this. Indeed. The witness would have had a clear view of the victim's seat. Isn't that what I just said? I saw the back of the kid's head. Unfortunately for you, that is not possible. If the court would think back, you'll remember that between each of the tables is a tall partition. Why? That's true. Now look at the plans again. The truth is painfully obvious. From the entrance, the field of vision of any customer walking in ends here. Yep, we've established the tiger did not spot Solid Snake. So, from the entrance of Tribulations, you couldn't have seen the victim's seat. But you did see the victim that day, because you met with him.
Objection.
Wrong. Have you forgotten the old man's testimony from yesterday? The victim was alone at his table. But the defense just proved that point to be moot. The victim witnessed by Mr. Kudo was not Glen Elk, but a fake. What? In order to have Mr. Kudo falsely testify, the real killer posed as the victim he had just killed and acted out a charade. No less. I was on stilts. You need a high vantage point to find customers in this biz. That will do. This trial has gone on long enough without the obvious question being answered. Who exactly was this real killer who impersonated the victim? You say the killer murdered Glen Elk, and then impersonated his victim in a performance for Victor Kudo. In that case, Mr. Wright, reveal the identity of this criminal to the court. Obviously, the killer is Furio Tigre. No one else could have done it. What? Well, witness? No, that's cute. You just think you can pin this on the tiger? Maybe you just don't understand. The tiger is king of the jungle. So I dare you to say it again. Come on, you got the guts? You can't press me, Mr. Tigre. It's the defense. Go ahead and tell the witness, Mr. Wright. No less. Cute. Bitch, I'm adorable. Mr. Wright? Sounds to me like it must be you, old man. You've got the guts, I'll give you that. Mr. Wright, don't leave me to handle this alone. Huh. Perhaps I can end this embarrassment. Mr. Goddo? Let's just go back over Mr. Kudo's testimony one more time. The old man didn't just see the victim. Oh, no. No less. One of Team 4 Star's better age lines, in your opinion? Yeah, that's fair. The serving girl bought him a Javachino, but she put something in it. There's no question about it. She very conspicuously put some white powder in there. Was the victim you saw the real victim or not? That doesn't matter. The fact remains he saw the accused put poison into the coffee. Yes, it was the waitress who poisoned the coffee. Very impressive, Mr. Goddo. Waiting for my absence to launch your attack. Huh. Found your pen at last, right? It was in my pocket. But anyway, Mr. Kudo witnessed 2 people that day. He saw the victim, the supposed Mr. Glenelg, and the waitress from behind. Yes, your point, Mr. Wright. I think the conclusion is obvious. If this Glenelg was really the killer in disguise, then surely it's possible the waitress was also part of the show. What? You mean the waitress was an imposter as well? The defendant, Miss Bird, fell unconscious immediately after the incident. And someone used her fainting to hatch an elaborate plan to pin the murder on her. Who on earth was it? Who was this waitress that Mr. Kudo witnessed? Who is this woman?
No less, everyone casting Teferi's Pentection up in here. Yep, I never play spellcasters, so I have no idea what that means.
Who is this woman? Her name is Viola Cadaverini. She's an employee of Tenderlender. You're making a big mistake. Do you know who Viola's grandfather is? You'd better be going home in an armored truck tonight, if you know what I mean.
Stop shaking, Nick.
Where was I? Yes, the defendant, Miss Bird, has stated the following.
Well, when I took the coffee over to the victim's table. Worse, it's Magic the Gathering. Ah. It's true there was another customer in the restaurant. She was sort of creepy. And she had a kind of cackling laugh.
There are just too many contradictions in this case. The second man at the victim's table, who nobody Miss Bird seems to have seen. The earpiece worn by the victim in his left ear when that eardrum was ruptured. And the radio show you were supposedly listening to half an hour after it was over. There's only one logical explanation that clears up all these contradictions. The whole incident took place twice. Once for real, and once for show. And Mr. Furio Tigre, the only person who could have committed the crime, is you. Witness? What have you got to say? That's cute. Sorry? You was alright? I could do with a guy like you around. What do you mean? Okay, I'm in on this game. I'm gonna have to charter a jet to get to my meeting now, but I'm gonna give you one more thing to think about before I go. Something to think about? You just got all wrapped up nice, right? But you've missed out one real important thing. But that can't be. I was in the joint that day, and I met that kid too.
Yeah, that's right, Nolus. He's spoken for, he has a boyfriend.
But I couldn't have poisoned him, you hear? What? Do you really expect us to believe you now, Mr. Tigre? Huh. What a troublemaker. Troublemaker. Looks like we're going to need another one for the road. One more steaming cup of hot testimony. Indeed. Witness, you'll now explain yourself to the court.
Okay, is this the last testimony of this chapter? Because if it isn't, I think I need to call it here. Nolus.
I couldn't have poisoned him because, as the game's been spoiling since the start, my secretary did it. I will give you one more chance to testify. What happened that day at Tribulations between yourself and the victim?
Ties to the victim.
Yeah, I loaned out cash. About $100,000. That day we was due to have a little chat. The kid had hit his payback date, see? So anyway, he tells me he's not got no way to pay up. I'm about to flatten the guy when he starts screaming. Yes, I won. $500,000. He got lucky, you know. Real lucky.
Nolus. He has another testimony. You think there's not much more after that, but there's probably a loss of dialogue. Oh, this is the last testimony. Okay, we'll finish the chapter then.
If that waitress hadn't done what she done, everything would have been over. Now, I see that the principal amount you loaned to Mr. L was $50,000. Yeah, well, you got the VIG to take into account. Interest builds up fast, you know.
That's faster than fast. $100,000 is twice his principal.
And the repayment deadline was December the 3rd, the day of the incident in question. Yeah, he was one lucky kid. He got that $500,000 just in time. So I ain't have no reason to kill the kid. And if I ain't got no motive, you ain't got no case.
Here's motive. He has one. Has to have one. But what is it? Okay. Did you have any way of paying the loan back? The VIG? You're not sure what that means, but it's something to do with loan sharks. I'd guess it's, corruption of figure. Something to do with the interest rate. Did you have any way of paying the loan back?
Fool was a gambler. He said he couldn't give it up till he landed a big win.
Oh, or fee or something. Fair enough.
So I agreed to help him. Help him? You? I kept hitting him with ideas for ways he could guess a big win. But the guy kept losing.
So you're helping him for his sake, or yours?
Win through compromise. Yous help me, I help yous. What's the difference, huh?
I don't believe this. Nick, would anyone really ever loan money to someone they thought was unreliable? Like, for example, if it were you, I'd only loan you $5 max.
Thanks a lot, Mayor.
So, how much were you expecting him to pay you back on that day?
What do you think? The whole package, $100,000, including interest.
That's a real heavyweight punch.
Once a client misses a repayment, you call the whole loan in. You want to make it in my world? That's all you gotta know. And how many times has Mr. Elk been late with his repayments? Once.
And how much was he supposed to pay back every month?
$50.
Sounds like Mr. Elk was in a real sticky spot. No less. Phoenix, so your worth is $5? And that's a reference to some weird dark anime from like eons ago. I don't think I get the reference. Yeah, $50 a month, he'd never pay off that huge loan. How much does he have left on his debt?
You want it in round figures? About $100,000.
That's the whole amount. We're talking about a guy who had 50 cents in his wallet.
What? He's telling me he wasn't even going to pay for the coffee?
Coffee?
He certainly seems to be a brave man, this Mr. Elk. That guy is smooth, I tell you, real smooth. You'll have your money in less than 5 minutes. That's what he says to me. The guy then calls me the Tender Tiger. He was skating on thin ice with me.
No less. To be honest, it's a reference you've only ever seen like once, so you don't know why you brought it up. The Tender Tiger is indeed a name.
Was that because the guy who won the lottery was his last chance at a big win? And you can confirm that this is the ticket in question. That's it. The Millionaire Radio Show starts at 1:30 PM and runs for 10 minutes. That fixes the time, so usually met with some accuracy.
And the whole scene was acted out again 30 minutes later. All that so that Mr. Kudo would see it.
I can see the kid's face now. I ain't never gonna forget.
Was there anyone else in the restaurant at the time?
I don't remember.
If there was no one there, I'll wear that ridiculous Tiger shirt for a month. Mr. Armstrong, Maggie, and if I'm right, Viola Cadaverini were all there at that time.
So the victim had intended to repay you from his lottery winnings from the beginning? Seems that way to me. But you wouldn't normally expect to win the lottery, would you? Huh.
The undying belief that your next roll will end the worst losing streak you ever had. That's what defines a true gambler. Yep, that is why it's called the gambler's fallacy. He makes it sound so cool. Don't be tempted, Nick. You haven't got the willpower for it.
All I know is, the kid took a shot and he got lucky in the end. The waitress, you mean? The girl with the glasses in the defendant's chair. Who else could I mean? If she hadn't got in the way, things would have been bada bing, bada boom. Over and done with. Maybe I should push a little on this. What exactly are you implying the defendant did? How about you go ask Four Eyes about that $500,000 ticket? She wanted it so bad, she poisoned Elder's coffee. Likely theory. Your wars hasn't held water lately, Mr. Tigray. Let's not forget this witness was actually at the scene tried. The law don't exactly agree with some of the details I send down. I couldn't be there when the cops showed up, so I split. I see. Your Honor. The witness's last few statements are worth a good 2 cups of coffee. I concur, Miss Gatto. You'll amend your testimony accordingly, witness. Haha, so that's what she is after, Phoenix, right? The tiger's trying to pin the crime on Maggie. If I'm asking about what he saw, it's only going to damage our case. What do you mean things would have been over and done with? Are you all there or what? I'm talking about the cash. I was there to get my $100,000 back. That's all. I'm a businessman. It was all coming together before the witness got in the way. As far as I can tell from the witness's testimony, other than recouping his loan, Mr. Tigray had no motive for killing the victim. Well, Mr. Wright, are you happy with the testimony or would you like it amended? I'm not going to get anywhere with the testimony as it stands. Your Honor, the defense would like the testimony amended. Very well. Witness, you will amend your testimony to reflect your recent statements, please. Apparently D and this are supposed to be Italianized terms, fitting with the Brooklyn gangster vibe. Oh yeah, that makes sense. I figure they were going for sort of a Godfather-like accent, even though he's still clearly a Yakuza. Are you saying you had no other motives that day? Yeah, so what? Then, why didn't you take the lottery ticket when you left? Why do you think? Because of Four Eyes over there. Because of Maggie? How about you go ask Four Eyes about that $500,000 ticket? She wanted it so bad, she poisoned Elle's coffee. Okay. Presumably he has whatever accent is stereotypical for a Yakuza in the Japanese version. I'd assume so, yeah. Okay, so, basically pressing that last statement gets it cycled through your different versions. Okay, so it's time to confront him with whatever he wanted.
which I'd assume was the computer virus. So you just intended to get back the $100,000 Mr. Elg owed you, correct?
I'd loan the guy the cash, that's my right.
Unfortunately for Mr. Elg, I don't believe the $100,000 is what you're really after.
What are you getting at, Tride? What else would a moneylender be after other than money?
Oh, the moneylender was after money, but money in a totally different league. The kind of money that a single disc like this would fetch.
What's that?
A computer virus, Your Honor. A virus called MC Bomber.
A computer virus? What does one of those do?
A computer virus is a program that wreaks havoc on the insides of a computer.
A computer? What does one of those do?
I guess the beard isn't the only part of his honour that is that is from the Stone Age. I'll explain it to you later, Your Honour. Right now, this is an important point. Wait, so this actually implies that at some point after the trial, Phoenix does actually explain computers to the judge? A virus like MC Bomber would be worth several $1 million on the black market.
Several $1 million?
Lending money with no hope of ever seeing repayment would normally be bad for business. But in this case, the very fact that Glenn Elk had no way to repay the money is crucial.
What?
Glenn Elk was a programmer. A highly skilled programmer. That skill was the collateral Mr. Elk put up in order to borrow the money.
Objection.
You're trying to suggest the witness's motive was to get a hold of the program? Exactly. Well, to be fair, I haven't really seen many gangster films myself. Just the, I just know them from pop cultural osmosis. The witness may have poor fashion sense, but he is by no means an idiot, Tride. A man like him could get his hands on $1 million without resorting to murder. Of course he could, provided that he had time. But what if he needed the money right then? When the pressure's on, the luxury of choice tends to disappear.
It seems you have a logical conclusion for this theory, Mr. Wright. Would you care to share it with us? Why did Mr. Tigray need money to the tune of $1 million?
In December of last year, you found yourself in need of a huge amount of money. About 6 months ago, you were involved in a traffic accident, weren't you? Yep, Comrade Phoenix. An accident involving a car and a scooter, in which a young woman was injured. She was taken to the hospital where she underwent surgery.
How much of this do you know?
These medical papers document the treatment of the young woman in question. According to these, her operation cost $1 million. And yet, when the payment was due last month, you somehow managed to pay it in full.
$1 million? A preposterous sum. Someone should sue those HMOs.
No one would pay a bill like that. If the medical association got wind of it, the hospital would end up dead as a morgue.
But Mr. Tigray had no choice but to pay, because his very life depended on it.
Yeah, the Austin Powers movies haven't really aged that well, in a few ways at least, but they're still fun. To be honest, I think gross out comedy had its moment, and that was it.
Order? Order? Order! You say his life depended on it, Mr. Wright?
Indeed it did, simply because the injured woman was none other than Viola Cadaverini.
Did you say Cadaverini?
Bruto Cadaverini, mob boss in charge of all underworld activities in the city, and doting grandfather to his precious Violetta, also known as Viola Cadaverini.
Your life was in danger unless you paid compensation to the boss, correct? It makes sense.
You were desperate to acquire the $1 million Bruto Cadaverini demanded of you. So desperate, in fact, that you decided to sacrifice Glen Elk's life to pay your debt. On the day of the murder, Mr. Tigray's sole intention was to get his hands on this CD. Glen Elk had no way of paying back the $100,000, and Mr. Tigray knew it. But then a miracle happened, just like the end of the last game. The kind that Mr. Tigray would prefer to say never happened, but he can't, and neither can I.
The lottery win.
Exactly. At the 11th hour, Mr. Elk won $500,000 on the lottery, which left Mr. Tigray with no way of getting his hands on the all-important CD. At least no legitimate way. Remember, kids, commit piracy or you'll end up resorting to murder. So he resorted to illegitimate means.
That's crazy.
He murdered Glen Elk, and then made his next move. To frame Maggie Bird for the crime. Thanks for the quote, Nihilus. Mr. Tigray posed as Glen Elk, while Viola Cadaverini played the role of Miss Bird. And then they reenacted the whole thing in order to establish a witness. The witness being the one we heard testify yesterday, Mr. Victor Kudo.
Like I said, tried. That's crazy.
No one could pull off a stunt like that. For starters, there's no way the chef could be kept in the dark about it. But Mr. Armstrong was in on it from the very beginning. Have you forgotten already, Mr. Gonno? Mr. Armstrong owed the witness money too. $500,000, in fact. He had no choice but to go along with Mr. Tigray's plan.
Order! Order! Silence or I'll clear the courtroom!
You just put on a good show, Spiky. If you want to stay alive in the loan shark business, you gotta be careful. You saying I dressed up like that kid, create a witness, and frame someone? If I did something crazy like that, I'd leave a trail as bright as my shirt. I ain't dumb enough to do something sloppy like that. I agree.
You do?
Despite your appearance, you're very careful. And that's why you took one more precaution. One more trick to make sure Miss Bird had no way out.
What? Another one, Mr. Wright?
Interesting. Why don't you fill us all in, Trides? What was this trick you say that Mr. Tigray performed to frame the accused?
What on earth is that? What an insult to think of anyone could be fooled by such a childish imitation. Consider yourself insulted, Your Honour. Mr. Tigre, you didn't just pose as the victim on the day in question. A month ago, in this very court, you posed as me. What? That's the truth. But the witness looks nothing like you, Mr. Wright. Although, now that I think about it, it was you, wasn't it? No doubt it was you, standing in here, this very court, a mere month ago. The Phoenix Wright put up the most disreputable, shabby defence I have ever seen. Ugh. Can you prove that, Gramps? Prove that the attorney who represented the accused here a month ago was this man? Are you prepared to take to the stand and testify that it was him? He's got to try to order the judge to testify. Hey. Forget about it, yeah? I would do something like that. Not me. You made a mistake, right? It was someone else, huh? Have you no pride, sir? This isn't a matter of pride. That's lions. In case you didn't know who tried, here in court we deal with people's lives. Mr. Goddo is right, Your Honour. Speaking for myself, I'm absolutely convinced. The attorney in question was the witness standing before me now. However, I preside over this court as the judge, with the vested power to hand down a verdict.
Nolus, Google. A judge shall not testify as a character witness in a judicial, administrative, or other judiciary proceeding, or otherwise vouch for the character of a person in a legal proceeding, except when duly summoned. So if he summons himself, then sure. I don't think it quite works that way.
Someone in my position cannot be swayed by a memory without evidence to support it.
That's true, knowing these games. I mean, Phoenix was allowed to cross-examine the parrot.
If the defence has no further evidence, the court will now excuse the witness. The circumstances surrounding Mr. Tigre are dubious for sure, but not conclusive.
Let's just save. But we've come so far.
You say impersonated Glen Elk. You say impersonated you. But none of that adds up to a murder charge. You don't have a shred of evidence that the witness poisoned the victim's coffee. Huh. Sucks to be you, right? Don't mess with the tiger, or you're gonna get mauled. You got that?
All we managed to do here was chase him around a bit. But I was so close to getting him to admit his own guilt.
Looks like I won't be needing a refill.
Hopefully this is when Gumshoe bursts in and brings the fingerprinted bottle. If I had just one more piece of evidence, and maybe I could get Maggie off the hook.
This witness's cross-examination is over. You're free to go, Mr. Tigre. Your Honor, sir. Wait.
Called it.
Detective? Detective Gumshoe. Sorry I took so long, pal. I staked everything on this. My badge, the works. So here it is. My heart's counting on this too. What is it, Detective? It isn't obvious, pal. It's the final decisive piece of evidence. I mean, geez, haven't you been paying attention to this series' format? What?
January the 8th, 2:48 PM, District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 1. No less, it's Marcellus Wallace's soul.
Sorry it took so long, pal, but I finally got the results from the lab.
The results?
About the prints, pal. From this medicine bottle.
Oh, so? Do you know who the prints belong to now?
Do you think I'm some kind of hack detective? Of course I know.
So, tell us. They're the tigers, right? I knew it.
You bet. Clear as crystal, all over the bottle. They're Furio Tiger's paw prints, alright.
No less, Google has mixed results on precedent validity of calling an animal to testify. A court official in Paris said a dog named Scooby has become the first animal called to testify before a court in France. Something about how it reacted to seeing a person. Yeah. Also Reddit threads titled, I cross-examined a parrot. I mean, isn't that literally what happened in Phoenix, right? That's great, we've got him now, Nick. What's wrong with you? You've hardly said a word since Detective Gumshoe got here. He's laid everything on the line for this, Nick.
I know. Look, I'm sorry. This is kind of hard to say, but it really doesn't make any difference whose prints are on that bottle now. Huh? What? Why not? What we need to produce at this stage of the trial is irrefutable evidence that the tiger put poison in Glenelg's coffee. He's already admitted he met the victim. The fact that his prints are on this bottle, that really doesn't make a difference now. I knew it. Great. No matter how hard I try, I'm never of any use.
Hey, don't be so hard on yourself.
This was our last chance to help Maggie, and I've been working on some useless piece of evidence the whole time. It's alright, I'm a real loser. That's not breaking news to me, pal.
Okay, is that creepy girl? Oh no. Detective Gumshoe? Maggie? You've been working on something for me?
Sorry I let you down, Maggie. I know you didn't do it, and I'm a detective. We're supposed to be able to prove stuff like that. I'm really sorry.
Detective Gumshoe, wait!
He is gone.
Isn't anything we can do now, Nick?
I wish there was. Gumshoe worked so hard to get that evidence. If only there was some way I could use it.
Small bottle put into pocket. The victim's ear medicine, covered in Furio Tigre's fingerprints. So what? Are we supposed to argue he stole it by mistake trying to get the poison back? January the 8th, 3:04 PM, District Court, Courtroom Number 4.
Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honour. I granted you a recess so you can prepare this decisive evidence you've discovered.
No less. Most shots Maggie looks like a teenager. Some shots she looks like someone's grandmother, and you're not sure how. It's because she's anime. Although, to be honest, I think that waitress uniform makes her look a bit old. Somehow. Yes. Don't keep us all in suspense, try it. Show us. Naturally. We can assume it's evidence that'll actually stand up in court, can't we? Think, Phoenix. Don't let Gumshoe's hard work go to waste. How much more of my time are you going to waste? I ain't been out to no court before. But you lawyers sure know how to blow things out of proportion. No doubt, given the nature of the evidence, it will speak for itself. Nevertheless, you'll talk us through it, Mr. Wright. Well, I know I can't prove anything new of this evidence. I'm really backed into a corner here, but maybe if he thinks he's got me beat, he'll let us guard down a bit. Don't keep us waiting any longer, Mr. Wright. Present this final decisive piece of evidence to the court. No less, most women in anime are basically elves. They look 20 until they're about to die of old age. True. This is the defence's final piece of evidence. Isn't that the victims? Your Honour, naturally the court is already aware of the contents of this bottle. However, interesting new information has come to light. We've clearly identified some fingerprints on it. Fingerprints belonging to you, Mr. Tigre. What? But, Mr. Wright, what conclusion are you hoping to draw from this new information? Everyone in here knows what this bottle contains, except one man. One person in this courtroom should theoretically be in the dark. My prints are on that pansy-looking bottle. Is that what you're saying? Well, what the hell's in it anyway? A phony trial, a phony lawyer, and a phony clues. Everything about this case has been phony. Phoenix always wanted to be the objector in the rye. Seems like the perfect excuse for some phony evidence. Mr. Tigre, this is the most decisive piece of evidence that will prove your guilt. Why? Because it contains potassium cyanide. This bottle contains potassium cyanide. So I guess if we're bluffing him into thinking it's the poison... But potassium cyanide? The poison used to murder Mr. Elk, Your Honour. The victim's killer used this very bottle. And on this bottle, Mr. Tigre, we found your fingerprints. Well, how do you explain that? Ha ha ha. You'd make a good clown, you know that. What? You ain't never gonna get this to stick. You're just making me laugh now. You think a cheap bluff like that's gonna fool the tiger? Bluff? I can see straight through you, you Phoenix Wright. That ain't the bottle with the cyanide in it. No. This is the bottle we found traces of the poison in. Don't mess with the tiger, or you're gonna get ripped to shreds. The cyanide bottle was brown, and it was made of glass. That cheap piece of trash don't look nothing like it. And how do you know about this cyanide bottle then? Okay, this is cliched, but I love it.
Got him. At last.
Yep, that's right, Jan. Thanks for telling us what the cyanide bottle looks like.
What? Why has everyone gone quiet? I said that bottle.
Is this the bottle you're referring to?
Yeah, that's it. That's the bottle the cyanide was in. But you ain't going to find my prints on that bottle. Don't let that cozy looking suit for you people. That lawyer's just playing games. Tell him, Mr. Prosecutor. Tell that guy where to go. You still haven't figured it out. Don't you realise what you just said? What I said? What did I just say?
You were summoned to this court for the first time earlier today. If you really had nothing to do with the murder, you shouldn't have known all the little details. For instance, you shouldn't have known what kind of bottle the potassium cyanide was in. Notice, you're going to finally quote the Gordon Freeman thing, looked up the original cutscene, and the actual line is nothing how I keep putting it in. Yeah, I just sort of use it like a non sequitur answer for when someone's saying who someone is, or what something is. For those who aren't aware, the scene goes something like, early on you're teleported around everywhere, you end up in the main villain's office for a brief moment, he sees you just before you disappear, and then at the end of the scene, you appear in his office again, and he's on the phone saying, I just saw someone appear in my office, and I could have sworn it was. Then he looks up at you and is like, Gordon Freeman. Yep, exactly. The man I saw, I'm all but certain it was, Gordon Freeman. It was a really impressive moment back in 2007-ish. No, it must have been close to like 2010, 2009. I know it was a few years before I started uni. But just now you slipped up in front of every single person in the courtroom. No less, I'm getting colder. Okay, I don't know them. You described the exact bottle used by the killer to hold the poison. You just don't know who you're messing with. I'm the Tiger. I control millions of dollars on the black market. You just think I'm gonna let some jumped-up suit get the best of me? Oh, it came out in 2004. Wow. It's old enough to drink. This year? Sure, the last piece of evidence was phony. But that's just what you deserve. The phony trial with a phony lawyer was all played out by you. The biggest phony of all. Here comes the animation. Yep, that's right, Nellis. He's going Super Saiyan. No less. The poison. The poison specifically to kill Glen Elg. Glen Elg's poison. That poison.
What's going on? It looks like a blackout. Well done. Try it. I saved my 17th cup of coffee just for you.
No less, he's gone McCavity. Oh, full McCavity. Like, literally, McCavity is always turning the lights off in the stage version of Cats. No less, the lights are back on, where's Undertaker?
Savor it. While you watch the police restrain your prey.
I guess you could say that Phoenix should have wished the victim was a Java programmer.
Mr. Wright, you caught a tiger by his toe, but if this one hollers, he won't be let go. Yes, I'm very pleased with that one. Now then, how are things going with Mr. Tigray, Mr. Gollo? He's being arrested on suspicion of the murder of Glenn Elk, Your Honour. Fortunately for us, we managed to rectify a very grave error. Miss Bird was found guilty in the absence of a genuine defence attorney. Yes, she was. She was also found innocent in the absence of a genuine defence attorney.
Sorry, I'll go back to the actual dialogue now.
And in the absence of genuine evidence. But the tiger made one mistake. Indeed. He very nearly got away with everything if it wasn't for that one slip of the tongue. Theo Tigray is a truly frightening criminal. Huh. The truly frightening one is that defense attorney over there, covered in coffee.
I don't know SpongeBob, but I know WWE. I'll be honest, no I don't. But I inferred the joke. I do know that the Undertaker had that sort of spooky undead monster gimmick. So it made sense he'd act like a slasher villain and just appear when the lights turned on again. But yes, truly the sins of American culture reach much farther than its positive influences. Wait until you hear about British.
Gordo. Well, I am now in a position to deliver my verdict. This court finds the defendant, Maggie Bird,
no less. That was one of the Undertaker's shticks, second only to him no less selling finishes and setting up abruptly. Oh, neat. Not guilty. It's all there in impact font. Oh, she's losing.
That is all. The court is adjourned.
That was a bit longer than I expected to stream, but I'm glad we're wrapping this chapter up. January the 8th, 4:10 PM. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 1. Mr. Wright, I'm at a loss for words. Thank you, sir. Congratulations, Maggie. I was so mad when Mr. Wright landed me in all that trouble a month ago. But now I feel I can forgive him.
Hey, that wasn't me, Maggie. That was the tiger.
Look, Nick, in the doorway.
Detective Gumshoe. Oh, I guess I'll be heading off then. See you around, pal.
Wait! Detective Gumshoe.
Oh, yeah. Congratulations, Maggie.
Thanks.
I knew you were innocent all along.
Why didn't you say that in your testimony then?
Huh? Oh, well, I was... Well, I guess I'll be heading home. See you, bye.
Wait up, detective.
He just ran off.
Maggie, why are you being so hard on him? He busted his butt for you. It's thanks to him we got the medication bottle. And the Undertaker was also known for having a comically gravelly voice. Ugh. I can relate. That wasn't even of any use. But it's only because Mr. Wright used it so cleverly. Detective Gumshoe was just running around in circles.
Poor guy. Looks like she still isn't ready to forgive him.
Can you put in a good word for him, Nick?
Yeah, Mayor's right. I should help Gumshoe out. It's clear he needs it. Maggie? You know, Detective Gumshoe's been really worried about you for all of this.
I wanted to believe that, sir. But on that first day of the trial, he practically gave the judge a brief pass to lock me up.
You didn't have any choice, Maggie. He's a detective. He has to report the facts.
He doubted me, and that's why. He thought I might have done it.
I've got to prove to her that Gumshoe really cares about her.
Okay, I'm guessing this is giving her the dinner.
I know. I'll give her a little present to celebrate her freedom. Here you are. A present to celebrate your freedom.
That's...
A present from Detective Gumshoe, made with a ton of love.
Basically, he talked like a death metal singer. You guess one mercy was he didn't generally say too much to preserve the spookiness. So like a death metal scream sort of thing.
Rah!
He said that you lost weight and he was worried about you. Detective Gumshoe? I actually really like weenies, you know? Was that supposed to be a stomach growling or a fart? Did you guys hear that? I'm pretty hungry myself, you know.
Yeah, the trial dragged on a bit today, didn't it?
Is it okay if I eat this now? So, how is it, Maggie? It's really good.
So the case of the phony versus genuine comes to an end. The false allegations surrounding Maggie have all been cleared up. And who knows, maybe a whole new chapter of her life is about to start.
Episode 3, Recipe for for Turnabout, the end. Achievement unlocked. Oh, Phoenix's boyfriend's back. Okay, and it's time to give my voice a rest, so we'll call it here. Glad you enjoyed it, Jan. Oh, hey, Kara. Sorry, I literally just finished. How are you doing? Can we get a shout out for Kara? Thanks, Nolis. How's things going, Kara? Oh yep. While Twitch is loading, I'll just show you these again. I got the adhesive for my horns. So this is basically the adhesive I've been using so far is basically spirit gum. This is a Pros-Aid adhesive specifically designed for prosthetics. And it comes in 2 parts. The actual adhesive you can see here, which works kind of like contact cement, and the solvent to remove it, which for whatever reason is blue. Definitely smells blue. Okay, who have we got online? Between Two Gays is streaming. They're streaming. Oh, Makers and Crafting. Could be interesting. Tamakan streaming Spiritfarer. Pandora's streaming The Sims 4. Dark Persona streaming 7 Days to Die. The Red Sage is streaming Baldur's Gate. Oh, does anyone have any suggestions on who to raid? Otherwise, I'll just choose at random. Oh yeah, other things I've picked up. A bodysuit pattern, so I'll be able to make myself a zero suit for my next project after I'm done with Lara and Grounded. And some hair samples so I can get the right wig colour for Lara. Okay, no suggestions then. In that case, I will raid. Oh, I'm actually kind of curious what Between Two Gays are crafting, so I'll give them a raid. No less. Another zero suit, huh? Your first guess from the packaging was Matrix. Oh yeah, it's McCall's Costumes, Yaya Hand's Ultimate Bodysuit. You can just about see here. Obviously there's a version with contrast and there's a version without, but I can easily change the panelling on it. Well, anywho, Obviously, I'll be back on Monday with more Paper Mario. Keep an eye on my Twitter for more details of my cosplay stuff. I'm gonna start the belt for Lara this weekend, and apart from the wig, that's pretty much done. Oh, the wig and the socks. I've got some fingerless gloves as well now. Oh. And thanks for using our bread droid emoji, Kara, which I love so much. Well, anyway, not much else to say, so I'm going to hit the raid button, and we're going in 3, 2, 1, and have a good night, and enjoy the weekend.